Hey, what's happening? My name's Khalil Kane, and you are listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, over to the film review. This is my week in Brian's free theme month. I decided to leave 2024, my favorite year, and decided to go to 2025. I chose an overdue movie, in my opinion. A little movie called Sinners by Ryan Coogler, starring some guy named Michael B. Jordan. But, I kind of did that in our instant reaction, kind of downplayed everything. When me and Dustin did our instant reaction back in April, we both said that we were really excited to do a full review for this movie just because how good we thought it was. And, you can only absorb so much on your first screening. Like when you get it at home is when you can really pay attention to a lot of things. And I really appreciate this movie a lot. And I've listened to several interviews with several different cast members, from Delroy Lindo to Coogler to Michael B. Jordan to Lee Chun-Li. I didn't even know that there was authenticity with the, Chinese in the Mississippi Delta. Like that was very authentic to the time. There's a whole documentary about it I watched. It's like 10 minutes on YouTube. Go watch it. And I listened to Dead Meat's podcast about this as well, and I thought he made a great point. Coogler took a very Robert Eggers-esque approach to the historical accuracy of this movie with everything, and I agree 100%. Dustin kind of teased me earlier with his score, and I agreed with him. Like, I gave it a 4.5 on Letterboxd, and I'm higher than 4.5 now. Like, I really love this movie. I told him that when we did our reaction, the only thing missing for me really was like an emotional pull, and things change in life, and I got an emotional pull from the movie now. Like there's some really touching scenes that I appreciate, and they're my favorite ones of the film, and I love this movie. And I do have a couple qualms once the vampires come, but I think the movie is so good that I can forgive it and still enjoy it a lot. Brian, what'd you think? I'm excited to hear it because I haven't really gotten to talk to you much about this.
Well, I'll spoil it right here then. But ever since the first Creed, I've been a huge Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan fan. Coogler continues to impress me with everything that he puts out, especially writing-wise. He's a great writer, especially dialogue. And nothing changes with this movie. Like, I'm going to be a boring reviewer for this one. I got a lot of notes and I talk a lot, but it's going to be boring because I love this one. Like, it lived up to the hype for me. And I'm not one to jump on the bandwagon when there's this overwhelming positivity for a movie. Honestly, it actually starts to make me temper my expectations when I hear that kind of shit and overpraising of a movie, because so many people can't have their own honest thoughts anymore. But I was pleasantly surprised, and it's going to be nothing but a vampire love fest from me tonight. And shit, I'll spoil it now. I have given lesser movies than this a 10. So there you go.
Yeah. This movie was the 45th movie that I saw this year in the theater. And it's my second favorite of the 77 that I've seen to date. It's second only to Bob Trevino Likes It, because that movie had me an emotional wreck, and it's such a beautiful story. But anyway, this movie's darn near flawless. In fact, I can't really think of any real issues with it. I have some minor nitpicks, but the themes, the action, the acting, the everything is just so good. You mentioned Coogler. I love Ryan Coogler. I love hearing him talk, because Ryan Coogler seems like the kind of guy that has stayed Ryan Coogler his whole life. A lot of times, people get famous and they change, or maybe they don't change, but it's because their whole life they've been, I know grooming has a negative connotation. I don't mean it that way, but they've been groomed for a certain kind of career. And so old clips of them, old tweets of them, they just seem like they've always been this professional. Ryan Coogler's just Ryan Coogler. And I love that. He's authentic. And Michael B. Jordan, I mean, I've loved Michael B. Jordan since Hardball, since he was Wallace in The Wire. He got a raw deal in that show. He did not deserve to die. But spoiler for a show that came out when you were, 30 years into your working career.
I was just going to start watching it tomorrow. Fuck, that's
still should. Fucking
still should. Top 3 show. I'm not going to do it now.
Nope.
The Wire is the top 3 show ever made. But anyway, everything about this is just so good. I'm glad that you picked it. I'm glad I watched it again. I'm glad to watch it again several more times as time goes on. And side note, I just know the aspect ratio changing throughout the movie drove Brian up a wall.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was about to bring that up. I've watched this movie several times, whether it be, I saw it in Dolby Digital the first time. The only time I got to see it in theaters, because I wanted to go see it in IMAX. I kept hearing like it was made for IMAX with IMAX cameras and all that. But, man, every single showing I tried to go to was packed until they took it out of IMAX. I was like, I'm not going to go deal with a bunch of people, because I know they're not going to be nice during the screenings. But I was watching it at work one day on my iPad, and I kept noticing like the aspect ratios change. I never really noticed it on my TV, but it was on my iPad where I noticed it most. So I'm glad you brought that up. But what you mentioned, Brian, about the tempered expectations is, I told Dustin I'm going to go see it, but it's a vampire movie. Like he know, y'all both know I'm not super into vampire stuff, but I was blown away by this movie. I loved it, and I've just grown to appreciate it more and more with each rewatching. I mean, it's a 2 hour and 20-minute movie, and I could pop it on anytime and enjoy it every single time. Because it doesn't feel like that.
Oh, no, not at all. And you brought up the IMAX thing. I think I read somewhere that Christopher Nolan helped him shoot this in IMAX, because he's such an expert on it from the Dark Knight trilogy from when he was doing it. But to answer your question, Dustin, I bring up the aspect ratio in my first set of scenes here, but it did not bother me, because it's 2.76 by 1 aspect ratio, and then it shifts to 1.43. It's not boxy. It's boxy is when it fucking bothers me. And I guess it's just because of all the growing up and buying digital media and accidentally buying the full screen version sometimes, and I'm just like, fuck, like I'm missing half the fucking screen. There's one Mission Impossible, I think it's 3, where you miss, if you buy the full screen version, you miss an entire, like you don't even see him like get blown away from a car while it's on the bridge and shit like that. So I just can't stand full screen shit unless it makes sense. And
okay, whatever. My expectations for the film, I had high expectations for, number one, I thought the trailer looked great. And I was like, it looks like a cool story. I'm not anti-vampire, but it's not my favorite thing, but I do like vampire movies, The Lost Boys, Blade, etc., Twilight. But pretty much anything that Coogler does going forward, I'm seated for. And I did see this one in IMAX, and that's when I noticed the aspect ratio changing was on that huge screen. I was like, bro, there's like 2 feet of screen at the bottom. It's not being used. What are we doing? And then I just kept paying attention to the aspect ratio. It's like, okay, it's changing to like show themes and everything, which is cool. And speaking of its theatrical run, it actually just ended its theatrical run today, and it ended as the number 3 highest grossing horror movie ever and the number 10 highest grossing R-rated movie ever. So that's incredible that it was in theater for this long, and that many people continue to, cause the demand to go see it, and it deserved every bit of its praise.
And there's no doubt in my mind.
Number 1
was it Jaws?
I believe it's Friday the 13th, Part 6.
It's
So
definitely
probably
not
not.
that.
I don't think so.
I think is it Chapter 1?
Probably.
it?
I honestly don't know. I just saw that tweet from Discussing Film. I didn't look that up. It was just
I know.
coincidence.
I
that
know.
found that.
I think it's in Chapter 1 because I think it did like over $700 million. They did a lot of money.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, I like it Chapter 1 as well. But the thing I was going to mention is just plug one more YouTube video. There's a video, I think, with the actual IMAX YouTube channel with Ryan Coogler explaining the different types of film he used, and it's really impressive. Like he's really smart. Like he's a very smart guy.
I'm a shooting on film supremacist for sure. It just looks so much better. They use 65 millimeter film on this one. It looks like a movie. Movies are supposed to look like that to me. Like they're supposed to be shot on film. I don't care about, oh, it's cheaper. Oh, it's easier to move the cameras. Nah, commit to the craft, baby. Give me what I want.
Yep. And, Brian said it. He said he's got a lot of notes, and I got 9 scene-by-scene breakdowns, so there's a lot of me yapping. So if you want to flex that 15-second ahead button on the old Apple Podcast, I wouldn't blame you. But let's go ahead and get started. I'll try not to sound too monotone or stutter through this too much. The film starts with voiceover as we see a picture of a blues player who is born with the gift of music who can conjure the spirits of future and past. She speaks on their names from different cultures and how they can heal their communities, but they also attract evil. Title card, Clarksdale, Mississippi, October 16th, 1932. Preacher boy Sammy parks outside his father Jedediah's church, and we see his shirt's bloody, he's limping, guitar is broken, and he enters the church. He walks to his father as we get a jump scare from Remick. Jedediah preaches about sinners, and we are to be fishers of men. He asks Sammy to leave his sinning ways behind and promise right now, drop the guitar. Sammy, as we get flashbacks of the night before, Sammy is emotional and can't let go of the guitar as we go back one day earlier. Sammy is humming the blues as he picks cotton early in the morning. Beatrice asks if he's singing tonight, but he won't tell. He makes it back home and kisses his mama and washes up playfully. He wakes his siblings up and looks over the cotton fields. Stack hands Smoke a freshly rolled cigarette as they wait on Hogwood to arrive so they can buy the old sawmill. Stack jokes they cousins after he calls them boys, and he asks what they plan on doing with this place. He spits tobacco juice on the floor as he's asked if they clean these floors. He calls them boys again, wondering if they're serious about purchasing this place. Smoke threatens with bullets, but Stack says they have real money. Smoke tells them if he or his clan buddies come on their property, they're going to kill them where they stand. Sammy goes to the church and tells his pop he's done with his quota. He wants Sammy to help with his sermon, and he has him read some Bible verses. Sammy grabs his guitar and says he's going to be out late. He is called out by his dad for going to perform for drunkards, and his dad says if he keeps dancing with the devil, he's going to follow you home as Smoke and Stack honk for him. They drive off as the three catch up on life. Sammy is told Chicago is just Mississippi with tall buildings. They stop and go to a hidden truck in the woods and were jump scared by a rattlesnake, which is killed swiftly by Smoke. Smoke and Stack debate when to open the juke joint, and Stack convinces him tonight is the night. Smoke says we split up to make up time, and Sammy goes with Stack to watch out for him. The brothers hug, and Sammy leaves with Stack. Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What do you think?
Okay, well, the movie starts off Tarantinoing it here, showing us the end first, so I know Nico's definitely not a fan of that non-linear storytelling there. But actually, Sammy's introduction here also has some foreshadowing as to kind of how the whole final confrontation will play out. I mean, that foreshadowing is obviously in the form of his dad's sermons and that body language triggering Sammy into those flashbacks. Also, did you notice he waits for permission to enter? Like, to me, when I was first watching that was definitely a red herring, like a red flag there, especially knowing that it has some sort of vampire aspects to the movie. I was like, oh, what's going on here? Is he a vampire? Like I said, especially if you know the movie has something to do with vampires, but isn't sure how, like I did. I love Sammy's character arc in this movie, and I'll get more into that in the last set of scenes, but I love it. And let me get this out of the way early, too. I love the setting, this place, the time period. It's all characters of their own in this movie. Charlie Patton's a big trip to the birthplace of Delta Blues inspired kind of Coogler to make the film as big and boldly as cinematic as possible. The director struck out to show how, quote, brilliant these people were, how they persevered, how their culture went to these metropolises and just dominated, and to dispel all the, quote, lies told about them. So, yeah, and I think the movie is just visually stunning. We talked about it a little bit ago about the aspect ratio. The specifics are it goes from a 2.76 to 1 aspect ratio. But for the major scenes, like Sammy's song at the juke joint, like the vampires, Irish dance outside, the final battle, the aspect ratio widens vertically to 1.43 by 1. So like we talked about in short, whenever the aspect ratio opens up, some serious shit is about to go down. But regardless, Nico, you talked about Miles Caton. He's so good in this as Sammy. Like, he's the glue that holds all of this movie together, in my opinion. And yeah, Michael B. Jordan is fantastic, and the movie is not the same without him. But I think Miles Caton is the glue, like I mentioned. There's something I noticed on this watch through I didn't the first time. Stack wears red, Smoke wears blue. I didn't notice that. I was having so many problems the very first time I watched this movie. I was like, which one's Smoke? Which one's Stack? And I'm not going to harp. Michael B. Jordan, the legendary status already. I mean, he's such a damn good actor. To be able to pull off both of these roles and still give each of them their own personality, I thought it's just fucking amazing. Just amazing. Just like this open. You keep dancing with the devil, one day he's going to follow you home. Loved it. Love it.
So there's more to just wearing red and blue. One of them is dressed like a traditional Irish gangster, and one of them is dressed like traditional, what's the other? Italian gangster. And that signifies, because if you notice later when Mary calls him out, it's like, you guys have been stealing from both sides. So that's kind of cool. But anyway.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Nice.
I love the intro, the animation, the narration, just great stuff there. And I love where it goes from here. Like you called it, Tarantino's it up. Preacher boy rolling up, covered in blood, walking into the church. So much is said there without saying a word. And I'll be honest, the first time I saw this movie in the theater, I expected it to get sinister immediately. Him walking in like that and the violent cuts to what he'd been through, I just knew something awful was about to happen. I love how we go back, or how we open with such a strong scene and then go back and tell the story of how we got there. We meet Smoke and Stack, and it's immediately clear that Jordan smokes both roles, no pun intended. Such distinct personalities between the two. Like, obviously, he would be a whale of a guest to land if we could, but I would love to just and there's videos of him talking about it, but I would love to personally ask him what his mindset was like. How'd you prepare for playing two characters that are so different? Great foreshadowing when Sammy's dad told him if he keeps dancing with the devil, eventually he'll follow him home. I love that line. One negative I have, small negative, it's the CG snake. Like, it's far from the worst CG I've seen, but I mean, it was actually pretty good, but the movie just didn't need a CG snake there at all. And it was noticeable to me. Like, it stood out that it was CG. But other than that, I mean, it's a really strong open though.
Yeah, I saw it in an interview he did. He said whenever, days he'd wake up with really tired and was grumpy, it was easy to be Smoke.
Makes sense.
Because he was just in a bad mood. But anywho, Smoke backs the truck out and makes it into town. He stops at a grocery store and scopes the place out. He asks a little girl to watch his truck and teaches her business and negotiations like an old head. Smoke enters the store and asks Lisa for Bo. The two hug and talk business. He needs catfish for 100 people until he hears his horn honking. He shoots Terry in the ass, and he realizes it's Smoke's truck. Smoke shoots the other robber in the leg, so he can't brag he almost robbed the twins. Smoke gets him out the street and pays him to get patched up. He needs a sign, and Lisa goes to get Grace to make a sign for them. Grace sees how much money Smoke has, and they talk business. Rush order for a red sign going to cost $14 and a vase of flowers. We cut to Stack teaching Sammy how to eat a Coos. You lick it just like ice cream from downtown. It tastes good, but you don't want it gone too soon. He asks to drive, but now he then asks about their dad. Smoke killed their dad because Stack was unconscious. Stack has Sammy play the guitar, saying it's Charlie Patton's old guitar. Stack is blown away by Sammy's ability to play and sing the blues. They make it to the train station and walk up to Delta Slim, the town's blues aficionado. Slim and Stack share pleasantries, and he laughs at Sammy knowing about the blues. They all talk jive to each other, and Stack asks him to come play the blues for them. Slim says he goes to Messengers every Saturday, and he will until he dies. Stack whips out an Irish beer, and Slim is intrigued. He takes a sip and is in love. Stack now offers $40 a night and all the beer he can drink, and no strings attached after that. Slim and Sammy perform now, and Stack invites the crowd to come join them for a battle of the blues. Sammy is infatuated with Pearline, and he shoots his shot. He asks if she's happily married, and she walks away flirtatious. Sammy tells Stack a white lady is staring, and she walks up. Mary tells Stack she waited for him. He stuck her tongue in her goose and fucked her so good, and I laughed so hard in the theaters when that happened because I was not expecting it. She tells him of her mother's passing, and you can tell it affects him, but he insults her, and she walks off infuriated. Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
The world building is something that Coogler does so damn well in this movie. I mean, with Creed, that lore was already there with the Rocky franchise, and he was able to just build on it. Same with Black Panther and comic books and the MCU. But this is from scratch. And, you don't have to have some narrator tell us that there's this history with the legend of the Smokestack twins, or that there's a deep history between Bo Chow, his wife, and the twins. You don't need to be told that. And that's just damn good writing. I love Bo and Grace. Their chemistry is fantastic. Yao and Lee Jun Lee, I think, do amazing in this. I believe everything that I'm being shown right now. And that's the biggest thing. I believe it. I've bought in as a viewer of this movie. And yeah, Coogler gets credit, but also casting director Francine Maisler. This movie couldn't have a single different actor, in my opinion. They were so good. Fun fact, the actors who play two thieves that are trying to steal from Smoke's truck, Sam Malone and Jaquan Monroe Henderson, also appeared in Nickel Boys from 2024, Nico's favorite year. Also, when Lisa goes to get Grace, and we get that one shot of Lisa walking across the street and then Grace walking back, no cuts. I love one shots. I know I've said that before, but even the detail of Bo and Smoke, they're talking to each other as she's walking off, and you can't hear them anymore. It's hard to express in this review how much I love those little details. And that little moment with Sammy and Stack in the car, everything from talking about licking the coos to everything. But as soon as he starts playing that guitar, just Jordan's expression of shock, just so damn good. Delroy Lindo playing Delta Slim, always going to be the cop in Gone in 60 Seconds remake to me. And my God, Haley Steinfeld and that dirty mouth of hers in this movie. Oh, Mary. Like, Josh Allen, you're one lucky bastard. And by the way, I've never heard the word coos in my life, and I just heard it twice in the same scene, so it's crazy. I saw a clip of this exchange between Stack and Mary on the old Twitters before I saw this movie, and I gotta say, it made me want to watch this movie even more. So I kind of think that I started with the first set of scenes. I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to end on my favorite quote from the set of scenes, and my favorite quote was, Stack, maybe she ain't white. I love it.
Hey, before you go, Dustin, I just want to point out another thing I really like. Smoke teaches that little young girl how to bargain, talk business. Then when he talks with Grace, he's talking to an older female who knows how to barter and, talk business and like bargain. I thought that was just a really nice touch. He's teaching the, one generation and then another generation already knows. I just thought that was a really nice touch as well.
Yeah, for sure. And also, Brian, shout out to Nickel Boys. I love that reference from you, 2-time Oscar nominee, Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay. But I do have to disagree with you saying that no one could have been cast differently. I don't know what role to give them, but I think that Ethan Hawke and Edward Norton could elevate this movie for sure.
Smokestack twins?
No, I don't think that works. But
Hey, Ed Norton can definitely play a racist.
that is
There's no
true.
doubt. That's true.
That is true. Anyway, just like the rest of this movie, the set design of the town was just elite. This movie feels so old yet so modern. Just top tier attention to detail all around. The Eggers influence or comparison, whatever you want to call it, is clear and appropriate because both of them kill those aspects. I love Smoke teaching the girl the negotiation tactics and the value of money. That was a great scene. And she was good at her job. And I died laughing when he shot the guys, especially the second one. Because he shoots the first one, and he realizes, I know these guys. And he shoots the second one. That sent me. That was hilarious. The chatter around town afterwards was great too. It's in the background. You got to pay attention to what they're saying. You might miss it, but you know how people are. You hear a guy say something about them shooting each other up and how they used to be, and they had their own side of town. That's a very good depiction. I think it's very accurate. When Sammy starts singing, The look on Stack's face was priceless. I laugh every time. It's a great GIF to use for a surprise reaction. It's awesome. Now, as good as Michael B. Jordan was in this movie, and he is elite, no doubt about it. But next, we meet someone who is just as good in this movie to me, Delroy Lindo. I mean, he crushed his role as Delta Slim. He's a super, super underrated actor. I think I love him, everything I've seen him in. Preacher Boy is a cold dude. Pearline said she's married, and he didn't miss a beat before he said happily. Straight out of my playbook. Bro thinks he's me. And then more hilarious stuff when Mary confronted Stack. And more pages out of my playbook from him. Be cold-blooded and send her on her way. I love it. Another great set of scenes.
Never change, brother.
Remind me to keep Dustin away from my wife, by the way.
I don't do it to friends anymore.
Sammy, Stack, and Slim drive through the cotton fields, and Slim tells the slaves to hold their heads up until a shot is fired. Slim tells them the story of his buddy Rice, but they got out of it by playing the blues for a bunch of white folks at a big house. Slim says he drank his money away. Rice left for Little Rock to start a church, but he got caught at the train. The Klan took his money and lied about him killing a white man and raping his wife. He was lynched and had his manhood removed. Slim starts humming the blues out of anger, and Sammy plays the guitar. Stack stops and talks business with Cornbread now. Cornbread scolds Stack for being rude in front of his wife, and Stack says she might even put his pecker in her mouth after she sees the money he's about to make, and I die laughing every single time. Cornbread joins them as we cut to Smoke. Smoke stops at Annie's house and visits their deceased baby's grave, giving her flowers. Annie greets Smoke, asking why he came back. He tells her they bought the old sawmill to make it into a juke joint. Annie asks if Chicago is through with them, asking how much they robbed from them to be able to buy a sawmill. Annie gives the little girl some roots, and Annie and Smoke start to argue over money and her taking make-believe money. He tells her about everything he saw in the military and didn't see any demons or haints. Annie says it was her prayers and roots that kept him safe. He asks why the roots didn't protect their baby. The two let down their rough exterior and embrace, and he shows her the mojo bag. He wears it on his chest. She freshens it up and prays over it as he smokes a pipe. He asks her to come cook for them tonight. She makes him say he loves her and he misses her. She hugs him and holds him to her chest as the two begin to kiss and then make love. The score intensifies as we get an incredible transition to Stack and Smoke driving through the cotton fields. Bo and Grace load up to go to the sawmill for the evening, and she waves goodbye to Lisa. Remick falls from the sky and makes it to the two Klansmen house. He says Choctaw tried to kill him as they hold guns to him. He offers them gold so he can go inside. Choctaw and his group make it to the house and ask if they've seen Remick. He's very dangerous. He's not what he seems. God forbid you let him into your home. Choctaw is hurried away as he says, "May God watch over you," and they ride away. Joan goes to the back and sees Bert has been bitten by Remick, and now they're vampires. Joan screams. "Shh, don't cry," Remick tells her. And that's the end of that set of scenes. Go ahead, Brian.
My people. Choctaw. Listen, Cornbread's Omar Miller played probably the most unrealistic NFL lineman in the series Ballers. Like, that's like Willie Taggart era lineman right there. But man, I loved him. Yeah, I loved him in that series. I love him here too. He's just such a likable guy. Like, it doesn't matter if he's playing Charles Green in that or Soul George in 8 Mile. Like, I just feel like Omar plays himself. He's one of those actors, and I love the dude. I was so happy to see him in this. He's underappreciated. I think he deserves more roles. Now, Smoke showing up to his baby's grave, this whole scene, with he and Annie, like, again, more world building and history without even having to say a whole lot of dialogue. Another two whose chemistry I think is just off the charts. Fun fact, Woomney plays B-15 in the MCU, Loki and Deadpool and Wolverine. Nico, the girl who became the head of the TVA. You remember that? I know you know what I'm talking about. Very touching, heartfelt scene, though, between these two here, and with him at his baby's grave and then learning why. I mean, it's just that was touching. That hits me. In his first scene here, Jack O'Connell's Remick noticeably literally drops into frame as he rushes into Burton Jones' house smoking. Another amazing shot. I bet that shit looked fantastic in the IMAX, or else on Mike's 100-inch TV. Either way, I bet it looked good. And so, at first this seems to just be a neat way for him to enter the shot, but it's later revealed that Remick's capable of flying. So, maybe that implies that he had taken to the skies to flee the Choctaw. So that was actually a landing, maybe, I think. I don't know. But did anybody else get a little Billy Zane from Demon Knight here with Remick? Like, listen to that review. Don'tgooutthere.com, by the way. Like, they even use the same switcheroo with the Choctaw and Remick, where you almost think that they're the bad guys right up until the reveal. And I love the deep vampire voice from Burt, too. Like, the whole reveal is like from dusk till dawn. Like, speaking of Tarantino, just another amazing set of scenes.
Yeah, white folks like the blues just fine. They just don't like the folks who make it. What a line. Still relevant today with a lot of the white population and basically any form of entertainment. I mean, you see it every Saturday, Sunday during football season. They cheer them on and then call them out their name any other time. The sound choice when Slim is telling the story was also very powerful. Hearing the screams from the story he was telling, just perfection. Another funny scene when they pick up Cornbread, man, was hot and had every right to be after what Stack said. That was hilarious, that back and forth. We see Smoke visit his baby's grave, and it goes from funny to extremely heavy. The swing of emotions is very well done. It also adds a layer to his character, which is much appreciated. I love the details of Remick, like you said, dropping into the scene, and then sizzling as he arrives at the house. Like, if you don't know that this is a vampire movie going in, which how could you not? But if you don't know, it may go unnoticed that he's sizzling there, but I think it was a great detail. And he seemed so believable. Very well done yet again. And then, it's crazy how deep race plays into people's beliefs. Like, these folks at their house were more inclined just to believe Remick because he's white than even hear the natives out, who happen to be right. Huge oh crap moment when we see what Remick has done, and it's another great set of scenes.
I agree. Full moon as Grace paints a sign and Bo works on the power lines. The crowd's filling as Slim tickles some ivories. Smoke is ticked seeing bad business go down as Pearline arrives. Smoke says, "We do this for U.S. motherfucking dollars." As Stack says, he says how hard they work for this, and this is for them. Mary arrives and Cornbread can't believe it's her, and they hug. Sammy says he ain't always nice, and he ain't that young. This man is diabolically horny. Cornbread offers condolences and lets Mary inside. Sammy asks if her husband is coming, but notices Mary and goes to her. She recognizes Sammy and offers to buy him a drink. Smoke continues, this is bad business, and Stack calms him down, offering a cigarette. Mary and Sammy chat about his guitar strumming, and Sammy asks, what is she? She said her mama's daddy was half black and helped birth the twins and nurse them. She's upset about them not sending flowers. Smoke says they sent them while she was still alive. He sends Sammy to Slim and tells Stack to handle her. Stack tells her it's time to go, but she came to hear the blues, not see him. She says she can beat any of these bitches' ass, and says she didn't want to be white or have a white husband. She wanted him. So you'll kill for me, she asked, but you still won't tell me the truth. Stack, in a moment of vulnerability, opens up, removing his hat, and says he loves her. He thinks about her every day. I just wanted you to be safe, and that was never going to be here or with me. She tears up as he walks away. Smoke watches on as Slim plays the fuck out of that piano. Slim stops and hypes preacher boy Sammy up and has him take the stage. And what ensues, to me, is one of the best scenes I've ever seen on the big screen. He intros himself and begins to sing and play. The song picks up and the crowd gets into it. Somebody take me, he belts out, and the crowd really gets into it. Slim tells Sammy the blues are from our home, it's sacred. Voiceover returns, conjuring spirits from the past and the future, as we see all different forms of music inspired by the blues. Breakdancers, electric guitar, DJs, African tribal music, girls twerking, geisha dancers, a lot going on, honestly. The roof is on fire now, and the crowd is outside now as Slim says, this heals our people, and we are free. But Remick, Joan, and Burt are drawn to Sammy as they walk to the bar. Brian, what'd you think of that set of scenes?
Now, I can't speak to the big screen. I can only speak to the little screen because I'm poor. But this is one of the best scenes that I've seen on the little screen. I will agree with that. Shout out to production designer Hannah Beechler, who had 8 weeks to build 2 juke joints, one for interior shots and one for exterior shots. None of this is CG, which is obviously definitely rare these days. In fact, the vampire's eyes, specifically for Remick's vampire eyes, visual effects supervisor Michael Ralla said that they were, quote, brought to life by a collaboration between the special and visual effects teams. Remick's eyes were actual practical contact lenses. And yeah, they look really cool, he said, but continued on saying, unfortunately, the actors couldn't see with them. So anytime that somebody's moving or walking, Rala said they're digital. But that's the one thing that's really important for this film. They never made anything up. There's a physical equivalent for everything that they created digitally. And that's one thing that was very important to Coogler, that everything's grounded in reality. The rest of the set of scenes to me is just my favorite in the whole movie. The conversation, the last real conversation between Stack and Mary that has Haley tearing up. I mean, all the way to this just fire musical rendition. And now let me read this and I'll shut up. And I quote, "The scene where Sammy's musical talents pierce the veil between life and death, figuratively burning down the house and exposing the revelers inside the juke joints to the devils outside for a moment." Everybody would have reactions when they read that scene. And that, to me, was like, okay, maybe I've got something. This was from Coogler. But translating it from script to screen was tricky. From a production standpoint, we had a lot of work to do. Every department was involved. It took a lot of coordination, he notes. I've got a couple of scenes like this in every movie where you're getting closer to production. You realize we're going to need a lot more planning than we thought. Instead of using previs technology to map out the sequence, Coogler opted for Sidney Lumet-style rehearsals where the key players on the production assembled in the physical space to map it out. Like, you got to know how big the camera is, he said. You got to have a person who's going to hold the camera here, he explained. Like, you got to walk through it and find where your trouble spots are and try to get ahead of them. We had to know where people were wearing. We had to find Jesus Christ himself. We had to find the right musicians. We had to find dancers who could do these cultural dancers. These are highly specialized individuals, end quote. My favorite set of scenes in the movie.
Yeah, I love the juke joint scene and how it was established. Great look at the difference in mindsets between Smoke and Stack. And I love when Pearline arrived. Her conversation with Preacher Boy was great. We've got multiple moving parts. And the cuts back and forth are so seamless and smooth. And seeing how ingrained in this part of the community Mary is was great too. The scene when Mary and Stack are talking, also great. Just everything about this movie's darn near perfect. And we get Preacher Boy's performance, and it's entrancing. Just incredible imagery and symbolism. Very strong storytelling of the history of the culture and, the spirits conjuring and also seeing on the other side of it, stuff gets real. As soon as I saw Remick and them standing there, I knew it was trouble. And then we see his eyes glowing. Next set of scenes is going to be a doozy.
Oh, yeah. Preacher Boy is kissing Pearline, and she tells him to put his foot on the door since it doesn't lock. She tries to slow his roll so she can wash up, but he's next level horny. He licks her coos like never before, and she falls to her back. Stack hears from outside the door and is proud of his little cousin. Stack joins Smoke as the three vampires make it to Cornbread. Smoke reveals to Stack they're going to be out of cash in 2 months. Remick tells Cornbread they like to drink and play. Cornbread says they're at the wrong place as the twins join them. Remick says Sammy's voice is beautiful. They heard it from outside. Remick says they believe in equality and music. They sing for them. They pick Poor Robin Clean, and I think that's a little jam, to be honest. I bought both Sinners soundtracks, to be honest with you, too. They're really good listens. Groovy little jingle until Smoke stops him and says for them to get back into town to the White Barrel houses. Annie says Mary is family. That's why she's here. Remick asks for one night. Can they all be family? But Smoke reaches for his gun. They said they'll leave, but they'll walk away slow just in case they change their mind. Stack and Smoke debate letting them in, and Smoke isn't cool with it and orders Cornbread not to let them in. Smoke and Sammy chat. He says his performance was good. Smoke says he's never met a happy musician pissing on his dream. Sammy says he's heading off on his own to pursue his dream. Stack reveals to Mary they're underwater. The patrons are getting paid in credits. Quick cuts between the two brothers' conversations. Mary figures out both sides were robbed in Chicago, and they'll need money when those gangs figure them out. Smoke tells Sammy this is his last juke. Stack gives her a gun before she goes to talk to them, though. Sammy tells Smoke to kill him now if it's a problem he wants to go to pursue his dreams. Mary walks to the three who are singing just outside the juke joint. Will you go, lassie, go? I like that song, too. Mary is alarmed seeing the type of money Remick has. He says it's from another time. She's in deep, deep pain that money can't fix. She reveals her mother passed, and he wishes that he would have met them earlier so he could save her mother. She pulls the gun and backs away after seeing his glowing eyes and him drooling. As she walks away, we see Remick take flight. Pearline sings now, and Mary walks up to the door but won't enter without Cornbread letting her in. Cornbread asks Slim to watch the door so he can go piss as Mary finds Stack. She hands him the coin and she kisses him. You rob trains and banks, but you can't steal this pussy tonight? Go ahead, Brian.
Jesus Christ.
Is that your favorite quote?
Whew. Anyway, man, I tell you what, I don't know how much older Pearline is supposed to be than my boy Sammy, but there's a lot of coos licking going on in this movie. God damn. Get it, Sammy. Let's go. So there's a good first interaction, too, with Remick when they first try to get into the joint. You know, there's this just uneasy feeling you get from their back and forth, and we'll be on our way, but we're going to walk real slow in case you change your minds. I love that line. So damn good. Fantastic cuts here as well as Stack and Mary talk about the money. She tries to convince him to let her go talk to Remick and company while we simultaneously see Smoke and Sammy talking, and he's trying to convince Sammy not to do what's on his mind. You know, just two totally different scenes, and it's the same person as Jordan. Just proves why that he's named after the greatest basketball player to ever live. Fun fact, it was actually Jack O'Connell who suggested Remick and the NWO here sing Wild Mountain Time when Mary approaches them. And let me tell you, it's hard to explain. You know, watching them sing it, Mary just standing there, I'm the same way. I was just entranced, just like she is. Just absolutely beautiful singing. And it's just so easy to just sit there and listen and watch, knowing something bad's coming. You know, in that cut when Remick jumps up to Mary, amazing editing. You know, and then we end on that line, you rob trains and banks, but you can't steal pussy for a night. That line is outrageous. Get me to the next set of scenes. Woo! This is a hot movie.
Preacher Boy, he's a wild boy. Man said he didn't mind a little stank. He wanted to taste her whole day. Now, former me would have said he's just like me for real, but I'm a changed man. I'm not sure when Remick and crew learned a choreographed song routine, but I'll forgive it. It was cool. Hearing Smoke tell Stack the reasons why they didn't let them in is very telling of the time. It's not as simple as let's all be family for one night. Not in those times. One alleged mistake and their whole world would have came crashing down. Then Mary made the biggest mistake of the movie. How many times have we told y'all, don't go out there? If they had just waited it out, maybe they would have left. You know, maybe Remick and them would have just left. Or maybe one or two get picked off as they leave and head for their cars, but that would have been better than everyone dying. The glowing eyes, again, stood out in such a good way. And the last thing I got, Cornbread inviting Mary back in. That's a great little detail. Like, first watch through, I'll be honest, I didn't catch how important that was, but it's very good. Still a perfect movie so far.
Cornbread is outside taking a leak until he hears noises around him. Bo alerts Smoke about a problem patron and confronts him over his faulty dice. He gets his ass whooped as Mary and Stack start hooking up. All the while, Pearline is singing her ass off. Mary is on some freaky shit as she drools into Stack's mouth. Smoke sends Sammy after Stack, but he walks away, seeing Mary riding him like Seabiscuit. Slim cracks a joke as he returns to Smoke without Stack. Smoke walks in and sees Mary biting Stack's neck. He sees blood all over her chest and face and Stack bleeding out. He opens fire and Mary drops but runs out laughing they finna kill every last one of you. Smoke holds Stack as Annie and Slim enter the room. Stack dies in his brother's arms as Annie offers condolences. She orders him to keep everyone out and he ends the party. Everyone leaves and Annie consoles Sammy, saying it wasn't his fault. Annie asks what did she say and thinks there's foul play. She tells Smoke they have to take his body outside for now. She thinks it's a haint or worse. He asks if she has any magic or a mojo bag for him. Best thing about me was him, Smoke says. Grace sends Bo to get the car. They have to leave to protect Lisa. Annie locks the door and asks Sammy to watch over him. Cornbread walks up but won't enter the juke joint. Annie is alerted by him asking for permission to be let in. He blames her stale grease for his bad guts. She tells him to admit he's dead and is a haint now. Smoke is alerted by Cornbread's odd behavior. He asks to be paid his money, and Smoke reaches to him, and he grabs his arm to bite him, but shoots him swiftly. Cornbread arises, unfazed, as Smoke makes it back inside. Slim asks if they smell anything. I think I shat myself. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, you ended on some bangers of some lines here. Fun fact, Michael B. Jordan admitted that he was never a horror movie fan, which motivated him apparently because the quote, I wanted to do this partially trying to help take the edge off a little bit. I was like, maybe if I know how it's done and I'm in it, I might like horror movies a little bit more. He says, I do like them a lot more. I just want to say that. Well, Mikey B, Dustin mentioned it earlier. Can I call you that? We're friends now, Mikey B. We're close enough for that. We'll just have a little we have a little podcast if you'd like to come on, join us sometime. But anyway, at the start of this, when Slim comes out drunk and tells Cornbread to piss right there, just seemed so damn real. Delroy, like you mentioned, Dustin, so fantastic. Speaking of horror movies with what I just said about Jordan, Lindo said that he didn't see the film as horror. When he read the script, he, quote, interpreted the story to be about what happens when a community is infiltrated and turns on itself. And that's what I think is so good about Coogler's writing here is there's so many different ways that the story can work with you and your heart and how you see it. And it's just so good. I got to point out the editing where they're stomping on the ground to Pearline singing. Fantastic. But cutting, in between them stomping out that dude who had the dice and also with Stack and Mary, like it's a tension buildup without music buildup. Brilliant, I thought. Also, Mary spitting into Stack's mouth. What a way to go, guys. And oh my God, I fucking died laughing when Slim told Sammy where Stack was and just waited for him to go open the door and said, oh, he's busy, huh? And he just laughed. That's some real shit. That's absolute natural joking around with someone. I almost said fucking with someone, but I feel like given what Stack and Mary were doing, that might have been misunderstood right there. But messing with someone. Such a crazy scene, though, when Smoke shoots Mary and she just gets up. Then that exchange between Annie and Cornbread, I love it. Slim just taking a swig after Annie accuses him of being dead. And that slow motion when Cornbread is getting up off the ground with blood pouring out of that bullet wound. God, that looks so good. Like the whole movie just took a huge turn at this point, and we have about an hour or so left of the movie. I think I just shat myself. That's so good.
Delroy Lindo's the man. Now, I'm not going to comment on Mary spitting into his mouth, but I will say this. Like I said before, former me would have been down. I had a random girl spit in my mouth one time at a bar. It turns out she was a stripper. So I'm just saying, former me. Anyway, tension, thick as cold oatmeal here. You got Mary with Stack knowing what she is now. Smoke is de-escalating the situation he's dealing with, and then the cuts back and forth between it all and Pearline's performance. It is great, and it's capped off by Sammy finding Stack. Slim was hilarious to me. He sent Sammy in there knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
Then his reaction when Sammy went back out, it was so good. And then Smoke discovering the horror. I love Smoke's no-nonsense approach. Don't ask questions, just empty the clip. Love it. Very emotional scene when Stack dies. Tension picks back up when Cornbread shows back up. I love how he needs the invitation back in. Very famous scene. It's everywhere on social media, especially the gif of him like sticking his hand out asking for the money. And then I love how the crew led by Annie was able to sniff it out like something's off here. And then seeing Cornbread stand right up after Smoke shot his jaw off was awesome. And as if I wasn't before, I'm all the way locked in.
Oh yeah. Smoke asked how he got up. I shot him in the head. Stack knocks on the door and then stabs through the door. Smoke leans in to look through the door. Stack says, of course it's him, and says he feels much better now. Annie says, that ain't your brother, and Stack says not to let her get in between them again. Stack bangs on the door, demanding to be let out. Stack runs through the door, smushing Sammy, and Annie throws pickled garlic on him, revealing they're vampires. Gray says she has to go get Bo, but they stop her from going outside. Annie reveals all of vampires' weaknesses and how they operate and live. Annie says they got to be killed one by one and set free from the curse. Sammy said it's because of me. The devil was coming because of my music. Annie makes Smoke promise if she's bitten, he'd free her before she turns. Their child is waiting on her. Loud scream as we find someone passed out, but he's dragged outside. Remick is singing an Irish folk song with his group of vampires, and it is litty. Throwback to the thing as Annie has everyone take a bite of garlic to see if anyone's a vampire. Pearline resists and Smoke bashes Sammy in the teeth with a gun until she takes a bite. She's fine, but Slim reacts weird. He begins groaning and grunting, saying it was too much beer from Chicago. His nerves are all fucked up, but he's not a vampire. They're unsure if that was blood, and Buddy, who got drug outside, is alive and normal, but before they can let him back inside, Cornbread tackles his ass and bites him, turning him. Bo walks up and is nonchalant about everything. She invites her outside, or they can let him inside. Remick walks up and pitches a new life to them. Remick now threatens to go after Lisa and speaks in Chinese, how she likes to have her pussy. And you're right, Brian. There's a lot of coos eating in this. Sammy calls him the devil. You're the one I came for. I'm trapped here, but your gifts can save me. He asks for Sammy, and he'll let them live. Smoke gets emotional as Remick says he couldn't protect his brother. Remick reveals Hogwood was always going to kill you, and it was a lie. Hogwood was coming back the whole time. Mary says they ain't leaving without them. We family. We'll have heaven here on earth. Stack tells Smoke we were never going to be free. Until this. This is the way. I ain't doing this shit without you. There is no me without you. Smoke is dragged back inside, and Slammy closes the door. Brian's next set of scenes, what do you think?
Look, Sammy having his head up against that door and Stack's knife coming through it. Look, Scream, the franchise, should learn a little from that jump scare there. I mean, that shit got me. Like an RKO, that shit was out of nowhere. And then Smoke puts his eye up to that hole, and you see that hole in Stack's neck. Like, God, it looks so good. Also in close-ups of Stack's vampire teeth, his gold tooth is shown, elongated into that fang. That was so badass. I love that touch. Slim cracked me up again here. I had a vampire once, a light-skinned girl who bit me everywhere except my neck. Such good writing. God, that's funny. Another huge set piece here with Remick and all the vampires singing with that violin playing and the Irish jig. Hannah Bleacher, the production designer, like I mentioned, Ruth Carter, costume designer, Monique Champagne, the set decorator. Everything is on point to every last detail here. Well, almost every detail. When Mary ran off from eating Stack, she's barefoot and she leaves her shoes behind. We see that. In the scene here where they're singing and dancing, she has those shoes again. So I find it kind of hard to believe that they just threw them outside for her. And that's a stupid nitpick, but I have to call it out. It's part of my job here. That's why we get paid the big bucks. And something I thought about, they said earlier that they left the box with all of the weapons and guns and stuff, right? Like, had the vampires not even shown up at all, wouldn't they all have been killed by Hogwood and the boys when they show up? I mean, hell, at least they get to be immortal now. Should be thanking old Remick, if you ask me. He's a good old Irish boy. He's got some good intentions, I think. Hell, Stack talked me into it. I would have just walked outside if I were Smoke here. Just leaving that there.
Unreal. And now Stack's back alive. Insane tension again. One slight knock for me is when Sammy needed help getting out from underneath the door when Stack burst through it. Be a man. That door ain't that heavy. What are you doing? Slim saying he had a light-skinned vampire one time and bit him everywhere but his neck was hilarious. Delta Slim, my spirit animal. The vampire song and dance scene was also hilarious and awesome. Stack and Cornbread were getting it. Smoke being no nonsense once again when Pearline didn't want to eat the garlic. That was great too. He threatened to shoot her and then pop Sammy right in the kisser. I laughed. Buddy getting thrown outside when they thought he'd been bitten provided some good tension. Like, it sucks for that guy. He wasn't even bitten. Like, that wasn't blood. That was funny. But then I love how they opened the door just in time to see Cornbread taken down. I love the camera work there and the angles that we were shown. Bob showing up all nonchalantly was sad for Grace. But this fool really said, come on, I've got the car started, and flashed his keys. No, you don't. You have your keys in your hand, dummy. Great mind games being played and great tension in the standoff.
No, Brian, you made a good point about Hogwood was coming back, because I listened to an interview Ryan Coogler did, and he was talking to this lady about that. It's like they were never free. Like, they were going to die regardless. But,
Okay.
Like the vampire, he's making the point that the vampires aren't the villain in this movie. It's the Klan. Because they were never truly free because, Hogwood sold them that sawmill with bad intentions. Like, they were coming regardless. So I'm glad you brought that up, though.
And a great detail I meant to mention before, but I didn't, was when they showed up to the sawmill to buy it, he commented how clean the floors were. And then we find out that this was used as a slaughterhouse. That's what they do. So they were definitely coming back to kill them all.
Oh, yeah. Smoke's hands are shaking, and Grace is crashing out over what the vampires are going to do to the town folk and Lisa. She calls him out for being a soldier and not having a plan. The group outside is singing again, and Bo blows Grace a kiss. She grabs a Molotov cocktail and goes to attack, but she's subdued, and yells out, "Come on in, you motherfuckers." Remick smiles. Game on. They all grab weapons, and the front door opens. Chaos ensues, and the battle begins. Stack bites Annie as Remick holds Smoke down. Pearline shoots them both, and Smoke makes it to Annie and kills her before she turns. "I'll see you soon," she tells him. Mary and Stack watch on and go to attack, but Smoke kills Annie first. Slim takes one last drink and cuts his arm, drawing the vampires to him. Last call for Delta Slim. Remick stops him from escaping out the barn window and turns Pearline. She yells for Sammy to jump out the window. He hobbles away, but Remick grabs him and uppercuts him. Smoke versus Stack in the sawmill as Remick says everything he wants from him. He prays, but Remick prays too as his groups walk towards them in the water. Remick begins to preach towards Sammy as Stack gets the upper hand on Smoke, but the mojo bag fends him off. Smoke goes to stab Stack, but stops as they have a heartfelt moment. Sammy hits Remick with the guitar in the head, and the whole group feels the pain. Smoke saves Sammy with a stake through his heart. The two watch on as the sun rises and all the vampires burn up. Smoke and Sammy watch Remick burn up in a beam of fire to the sky. And the next set of scenes is the ending. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, you know who doesn't have soft hands? Grace. That bitch was ready to fight. And who can blame her? I mean, it made sense. It wasn't one of those scenes in horror movies where you're like, "Oh, you idiot." No, you felt what she was going through. She just lost her husband. They're threatened to go kill her daughter. She was like, "No, fuck that." And the way she called out Stack was awesome. I loved it. No, Smoke. What I call him? Smadak. Wow. First time I've done that all night. You'd think that would happen more. But the only humans in the juke leading up to the final scene are Smoke, Sammy, Annie, Slim, Grace, and Pearline. But when Grace invites the vampires inside, like there's a couple of additional humans in there that are in the juke that are quickly killed during the vampire onslaught. And all right, that's fine. We need some expendable people out there, to get killed. But if they were in the juke the whole time, it's kind of weird that they were not forced to take that garlic test. So I'll just throw that out there. Anyway, that shot of Grace stabbing Bo and then burning to death on top of him, what a shot. And I do find it odd that the vampires were overrunning the place. Then suddenly we just kind of stopped to watch Annie and Smoke's interaction, which was such a good one, by the way. But then like 50 vampires look like they run in when Slim cuts his arm. So I don't know. That kind of seemed a little wonky there if you were really paying attention. But from a movie standpoint, I get it. I have a little more about this with Sammy and Remick here in the next set of scenes of the ending, but it goes better in the next set. But just another shout out to the composer, Ludwig Göransson, the music playing as Remick was stabbed and the sun was coming up. It was perfect. Kind of crazy, honestly, that we still have 20 minutes left of this movie. And I'm not complaining. I'm glad we do. As soon as he pulled that crate of guns out of the truck, which I guess is the next set of scenes, but I thought, oh yeah, let's go. I forgot about this. So fantastic. Grace
Invited them in. I would have had to shoot her right then and there. I'm not going to lie. I'd smoke
Nah, no way.
But it has the one heck of a fight scene. Great action and camera work, and the score is perfect. Annie getting got by Stack, that was emotional. Smoke has literally lost it all now. They lost a baby. He's lost his brother. He's lost his woman. I guess very sad. Slim sacrificing himself was a powerful moment too. I will say, though, the blood in this movie, to me, especially in this scene, didn't look the best. The color looked off to me. Something about it, but I definitely forgive it. Doesn't really matter. Another slight nitpick is how Remick played with his food when he got to Sammy. I don't buy that he wouldn't just bite him, kill him immediately. He kind of gave him every opportunity in the world to fight back. What? Oh, something else that was the fastest sunrise in history.
You're right. You're right.
It just is pitch black and then it's daylight. Again, it didn't take away from the movie for me though. I'm fine with it. I'm ready for the end.
Yeah, I was there with you, Dustin, about the Remick playing with his food with Sammy. but I've listened to so much stuff about like what the movie is, and it's like the significance of him being Irish, and from when he got like it was like when Christian nationalism took over Ireland and all that.
Yeah.
So he was using like his colonization that was on him, like he was using it to mock Sammy. So like he was preaching back at him. He was reciting the word. He was baptizing him in the water. So it doesn't bother me anymore. I actually kind of like it now, but I can understand you playing with your food. Like that's the one you wanted. I get that.
Yeah, and I get
But
that.
I just appreciate the historical
I do
approach
too.
to it.
I do too, for sure. It just seems like even after all that, he still just kind of took his time too much.
No, I'm with you. I'm not going to argue with that, but I just like the context of what Coogler's doing with it.
For sure.
And another thing, I agree with you, Brian. And I listened to Dead Meat's podcast about it as well, but they mentioned it as well. You didn't have enough people in the juke joint to fight all these vampires. You should have kept some more people in there. Like they were so outnumbered, they didn't stand a chance really. Like they should have kept a couple more people around.
Well, I don't think they
not
necessarily
only that, they're
knew that they were
Sorry.
vampires when he kicked everyone out. At that point, the only thing that happened was Stack was dead and Mary ran off. Like I don't think he knew they were needing an army.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
they
the
could-
gunshots kind of ran everybody off. They were like,
Well,
get the fuck out, it's over.
they kicked people out, but I mean, they should have kept a few more people in. They could have had, I don't know, just kept a few more people around. Because I mean, just keep
I get-
Cornbread's wife or something. Like keep something.
I guess for me though, I'm like if I'm Smoke and my brother just died, like I want everyone out. Like leave me alone. I want to be alone. Only my absolute closest people here. So I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, and I get that. I don't think it would have been a fight at all. But what I was trying to get at is there's more influx of people coming in more and more and more. And I was just thinking, like, where the fuck did all these people come from? It was just almost like too much. And then they would just be gone, and everybody would just watch Smoke and Annie. And then it was like 100 of them came in there. I was like, all these people were not in that juke joint to begin with. Where are all these people coming from? So, like, it was just, I don't know. It was good for a movie. But if you're nitpicking it and you're looking at it, they were off a little bit.
Absolutely. And here's the ending. Smoke and Sammy unload the trunk from the truck, and he tells Sammy to go home and bury the guitar. He says he can't. It was Charlie Patton's. Smoke reveals that was their daddy's guitar. Sammy drives away, and we see the beginning scene again. Smoke shakes as he tries to roll a cigarette up and relives moments with his brother and the others setting the juke joint up. He removes the mojo bag and gets the gun out of the trunk. The Klansmen arrive to kill Smoke and Stack. However, it's all locked up and Smoke starts sniping them one by one. He grabs a Tommy gun and mows the others down. He throws a grenade in the truck and kills 3 others, but takes a nasty shot to the gut. He sees Hogwood still alive wallowing around. He asks him for a cigarette as Sammy relives playing the blues, not wanting to give that up for the church life. Smoke gets a cigarette and lights it up, falling to his butt. He sees Annie and their baby girl. Elijah, put that cigarette out and you can hold her. I don't want that smoke on her. And I think that's such a beautiful play on words. Smoke shoots Hogwood, graveyard dead, and holds his baby girl. Sammy is driving away from the plantation, guitar in hand. Chicago, October 16th, 1992, which I think is another brilliant little hidden fun fact. That's the same day that Candyman was released. As we see Sammy still playing the blues.
Nice.
Mid-credit scene now, and Sammy is at the bar and is joined by Stack and Mary. Sammy asks how, and Stack reveals he promised he would leave Sammy alone. He offers to help keep Sammy alive to keep touring, but he's seen enough of this place. Stack says, I own all your records, but I miss the real stuff. Sammy plays the guitar and sings the traveling song for old time's sake. He gives Sammy $200 and hugs him. Sammy stops him and says he wakes up once a week paralyzed, reliving the night. But before the sun went down, that was the best day of his life. Stack agrees because it was the last time he saw his brother and the sun. And for a few hours, we were free as moments from the night replay. The two leave the bar as we see them driving through the cotton fields and Sammy singing. In the final end credit scene at the very end is just Sammy singing This Little Light of Mine before he left the church. Go ahead, Brian.
I didn't see that other credit scene. I thought that just the scene in the bar was the end. Oh, interesting. Anyway, it was just an amazing ending. You know, the shots of everyone with that intense music playing as Smoke stayed waiting on the clan, the intense music playing, and then that sudden stop, like Bray Wyatt blowing out the light as he ripped off his necklace. And then that transition when the clan gets there and opens the door, and that transition to Sammy opening the church doors. And that slow motion shot of him throwing that grenade in the car. Then, like you mentioned, him seeing Annie and their baby, just holy shit. I mean, that brought a tear to my eye. I'm not going to lie on that one. And listen, I've talked about it last set of scenes, and this is what I was talking about with Sammy's character arc and what he learns in this. I mean, our journey is with him. And the kid, he learns from everyone in the movie. I mean, he learns to, quote, lick coos from Stack. I mean, shit, he gets to put it into use on old Pearline. Man, these girls named Pearl are freaks, by the way. They're like scarecrows and everything else. Anyway, he learns how to stand up for himself from Smoke. How cruel the world can be from Delta Slim. But it's Remick who teaches him the lesson most, I guess, relevant to Sammy's life, I think. Well, when Sammy recites the Lord's Prayer, Remick mentions that he respected Jesus, but loathed the Christians who banished him and his fellow pagans from Ireland. Just because somebody is religious doesn't mean that they're automatically a good person. Plenty of people do horrible things in the name of their beliefs. The Klan, every war in human history has been fought over religion. Those are all perfect examples. Like when Sammy returns home and his father tries to preach to him and control him instead of, I guess, console him, Sammy sees him for what he is. Like he leaves to live his own life. Fantastic subtext there, I thought. And at the Easter egg on the first end credit scene with older Sammy's bar being named Pearline's, like, you know what that reminds me of for some reason? It reminds me of McFly going to Twin Pines Mall, Back to the Future, and then going back and running over the guy's pine tree. So when he gets back, the sign is Lone Pines Mall. There's just no attention brought to it. Like it's just something in the background that adds that extra detail when you do see it. So it being named Pearline's, I loved it. Love this movie.
Yeah, I love the montage in the early part of this ending as Smoke is rolling a smoke. And I love what Smoke does next. Always a good time to put a Klan killing scene in a movie. Okay by me. And I love how we circle back around to Sammy arriving at church from the open. Full circle moment. Beautiful. We get an emotional moment with Smoke and Annie and a great choice to show old man Sammy playing the blues as the credits roll. And if you leave there, you're satisfied. It's a great movie. But we get 2 more credit scenes. The mid-credit scene is great, seeing Stack and Mary visit old man Sammy, showing how they all ended up, showing why Sammy didn't die, like they didn't kill him, and showing why Stack and Mary are still alive. He promised his brother. Like, I love that. And that just shows the bond that those 2 brothers had. Like, he couldn't kill him. And then we get one more great musical performance in the post-credit scene to send us home happy, and I'm extremely happy.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention that Buddy Guy, the legendary blues guitarist, is the one playing, the older Sammy in 1992.
Yep. And another thing that I didn't have in my notes, but it's been on my mind was, I've talked about how distinctly different the characters of Smoke and Stack are, like even their mindset and how they approach and things and talk to people. Like you had Stack tell Sammy, that guitar belonged to a musician. Yeah. Like he's sugarcoating, like he's more polished. And then you have Smoke's just so no nonsense. I ain't gonna feed into the sentimental crap just to make you feel good. No, that's our daddy's guitar. Like, that's great.
Yeah. All right, guys, jump to our social media comments and questions. I'll knock out the Graham. Kevin Scanlon 653 commented, "I'm not really a Ryan Coogler fan, but this was easily my favorite of his. It's a really well-made film, though I'm not sure it's one I'll rewatch a ton. I haven't seen like the Black Panther movies. I'm just not into like the Marvel.
The Creed movies.
I've seen the 2 Creed movies, or the first 2 Creed movies. I thought they were good.
Brother, Hardball.
They're so good.
Hardball. Keanu Reeves to go.
I haven't seen Hardball. But anyway, are you surprised? Whiskey and Tacos commented, "This movie felt like an experience with the sound and visuals. Easy to get lost in and just really enjoy. Might not end up being my favorite horror of the year, but will be one of my favorite movies. Also, why did Cornbread walk a mile just to take a piss?" That's a good question. He did walk a pretty good ways away just to go pee.
You don't want anybody looking in his pecker. Like, I get it.
Yeah, I guess so. Real Matt Sears commented, "This one reminded me from Dusk Till Dawn a little bit. I enjoyed it. I'm a fan of the Coogler-Jordan combo." I hear that comparison a lot, and like, yeah, there's a big reveal like in a bar, but like, that's really the only common thing. Right?
Well,
that's just me.
It's funny you say that because one of the fun facts I have, sorry if I steal it from you, Brian, but Ryan Coogler said that two of his biggest influences for this film were from Dusk Till Dawn and The Faculty, both directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah. No, I get that for sure. Miami Flavors commented, "This was one of the best horror films I've seen in a very long time, and I can't wait to hear the review." Appreciate that. I agree. It's definitely one of the best movies that I've seen in a long time. M. Roostone commented, "Love this movie. The visuals, the soundtrack, all incredible." I agree. Like, I really encourage anybody who's listening, like, go download the soundtrack or listen on Spotify, like the actual, like, CDs or the playlists or whatever from the movies. They're really good. Jenny Conway 02 commented, "Best horror film of 2025 so far, hands down." I agree. It's like, I really like The Ugly Stepsister too, but it's just, that movie's just so depressing and bleak. It's just not as good as this one. And the last comment we got is from Chad AC10. "Loved it. It's if Dusk Till Dawn and Django Unchained had a baby."
Yeah,
I've seen Django Unchained. I'm not racist anymore. Go ahead.
I've got X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, pulled up, and Sean the Glee Man said, "Forgot to give my rating on Facebook. 10 out of 10. Damn, what a movie." So there's that.
I hate agreeing with Sean. I hate it when we agree.
Wait till you read the Facebook comment that Sean wrote, Brian.
Oh, God.
And then Adam Berg said, "Great movie. Best of the year so far, in my opinion. It would work great as just a story about the blues, old mobsters, and what life was like during that time. Then it flips into a horror/monster movie, and it makes it even greater. 9.5 out of 10.
All right, on the Book of Faces, Jennifer Davis. I went into this one blind, loved every second. Loved the history of the Delta region and, of course, vampire lore, so the combination is amazing. Chef's kiss emoji. We've been releasing episodes, Too Close to Home podcast, on the murder of Emmett Till, which required a lot of research about the Delta. The accuracy of this movie to the time is well done, very nuanced. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Appreciate that, Jennifer. Cole McAlexander, absolute banger. So glad y'all are going to cover this. Fingers crossed we get another rendition of this, either a Remick storyline or a Smokestack twin point of view that they were in Chicago. Keep it up, boys. Love the show. Dustin's going to love that idea.
No, okay, let me cut in right here. Let things live as they are. And Coogler's even said he's been so, attached to franchises and trilogies and whatnot that he had no plans. Now, money makes people do some strange things. This one made a lot of it, so maybe he does go that route. But please, let things stand in their own perfection.
Why? What if they're good? You're missing on so many sequels that are good.
Like, I don't want a Sinners spinoff without him doing it, though.
Is it going to be better than this one? No. Then I'm okay on missing out on it.
But you won't know until you get it.
I will know. It can't be better than this one.
Oh, okay.
The magic's already out there. We know what it is. We know where we're going. Only thing you can do is add to it, and I don't need anything added to it.
All right, Ben Obi. I liked it a lot, but it was pretty overhyped. Loved the first half, but the second half lacked the same edge and plot. Would you rather be Smoke or Stack? Not going to lie, though, that soundtrack is a banger. Keep up the great work, team. I don't know. Do we need to answer that? Would you rather be Smoke or Stack?
Stack is cool as hell.
I'd rather be Smoke, no nonsense. But if I could pick any character...
What would old Dustin rather be?
If I could pick any character, I'd be a mix between Preacher Boy and Delta Slim.
There you go. Wouldn't even be either one of them. All right, Sean Irwin. Best movie of the last 3 years at least. Like I said, I hate it when me and Sean agree. The music, the story, the acting, all of it just phenomenal. Which means Brian's going to hate it because I love it. You know what? I wish I did. I wish I'd read that before I went and did these notes because he would have changed my entire outlook on the movie, Sean. I think he does it on purpose.
You guys got any fun facts you want to share?
I got a few.
I've only got one now.
Go ahead.
So go ahead. When Buddy Guy was brought in for facial scanning, visual effects artist James Alexander said, he's been a born entertainer. He's told me a bunch of stories. He's just mesmerizing because he's got one of those faces where, you can tell he's just got a million stories behind those eyes. And he started telling me stories about Aretha Franklin, stories from New York in the 60s and 70s. And so, really all that is, it's not really a fun fact. It's just kind of some one guy's experience with Buddy Guy. But for some reason, I just felt attached to that and wanted to share it. So
I'm glad you shared Aretha Franklin. That's my cousin, so I like that. I got a few here. Remick mentions how Christians, and I guess you guys have already touched on this, but Christians took his father's land. So given that he's Irish, it would mean he was alive before the island was fully converted to Christianity, putting his mortal life somewhere between the 5th and 7th century, making him at least 1,300 years old. That's cool.
Wow.
This one's funny. Ryan Coogler explained in an interview that Remick was partially inspired by the character Death in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish from 2022, noting both his eyes and demeanor. And it's funny because Coogler mentioned Puss in Boots a lot. He loves that franchise, and I can relate. I wasn't as big Puss in Boots fan, but Shrek, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan and his producing partner / wife Emma Thomas assisted Coogler with shooting with 65 millimeter film, which we discussed. This is the second R-rated horror film to be shot with IMAX film cameras after Nope. Stay tuned. And then the last one I've got is Delroy Lindo was in Crooklyn, good movie, with Joaquin Woodbine, underrated actor, who was in 3,000 Miles to Graceland with David Arquette.
I got a few fun facts before we go. If one of y'all want to knock out the budget.
I got it.
Jack O'Connell, he signed on because he wanted to do Irish folk music. He took Irish dancing lessons as a kid, so he was super excited to be able to sing these songs. He said that he sang several of these songs in a pub many a time. So, those Irish guys, they can drink. Miles Catton, he didn't know, he learned how to play guitar for this movie. I'm sure most people knew that, but he learned how to play guitar just for this role. Super impressive. That just makes his performance that much more mind-blowing to me.
Wow.
Go follow him on TikTok, YouTube. Go support that young man. We're going to be seeing him for a long time, and I hope we do because he's very talented. So, yeah, I really like that as well. What else was I going to say? I kind of forgot. Oh, Ryan Coogler. He loves Irish folk music. He said, and I quote, "My name is Ryan. That's Irish. Of course I love Irish folk music." So I like Ryan Coogler.
I love Ryan Coogler.
He's a very interesting person. I like the way he talks too. Like that Oakland accent, like he can never shake that shit. Like, bro, the way he talks.
He's as Oakland is too short in the A's. Well, not the A's anymore. But yeah, I would love to hang out with Ryan Coogler. When he went to the Criterion closet, that's like my favorite Criterion closet ever because he's so funny. I got the budget pulled up. Budget was $90 million estimated. It made over half that back opening weekend, 48 million and some change, and then went on to gross worldwide over $365 million. People love this movie and they went to see it. Support cinema. Love it.
The movie deserved it. All right, guys, jump into our favorite kill, least favorite kill in the rating. Dustin, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll go first, and I've also got Mike's, so I'll let one of you go, then I'll read his. My favorite kill, the Klan. Love a good Klan death scene. Never going to get a bad word out of me about that. Least favorite kill was Annie. That was just heartbreaking what all smoke lost. Like, that is heavy.
Yeah.
Rating, final thoughts, very few minor nitpicks, which I mentioned. That's the only thing that's holding me back from giving it an absolute perfect 10. It's very close, though. I love it. Ryan Coogler is a genius. 9.75. Okay. I kind of pulled the rug out from underneath you, Nico. I told you I was going to give it a 10, but then I thought more about it. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's dang close.
Yeah, I've been debating myself.
My favorite death scenes were, they didn't really die. I mean, they became vampires. So, like, it was just like with Cornbread getting up and that blood coming out of his neck. Like, those are just my favorite scenes, have to do with that. I didn't really have a least favorite kill. I talked a lot. I'm not going to talk a lot here. Just an amazing movie. One of the best I've ever seen. Like, it's an easy 10 from me. My favorite part about the whole movie was that they had real liquids in those drinks. There were not fake empty cups. Just for that, this movie deserves a fucking 10.
Right here where Mike scored it.
All right. Mike says, effing outstanding horror film. I'm not saying that word, but effing outstanding horror film. The only reason it's not a 10 is the vampire aspect. Michael B. Jordan puts in 2 performances that mirror the other Michael Jordan's Flu Game. Haley Steinfeld. Call me sometime. He only put it once in his notes, but he said Josh Allen can't fight. I'd like to see that matchup. Let's go, Mike. I'm in your corner. Anyways, love the music. Love the period sets. All the other acting is top notch as well, especially Omar Miller. Hate what happened to my dude Cornbread. Maybe he'll find himself outside the Chin Tiki after this. That's an 8 Mile reference, Nico. Coogler put on a masterclass here. I liked it way more than I thought it would. Barely felt the runtime. I gave it a 9.25. And he said his favorite kill was Bo. Normally I wouldn't advocate for the woman on man violence, but I thought it looked great. And him coming up, or him going up in flames was a nice touch. Least favorite, cornbread.
That's fair. Who's my favorite kill? I'll go with Hogwood just because like he is the worst. Like I'm gonna pick a Klansman too, but specifically him. Just getting all them bullets. Got to go with that one. Least favorite kill, man. I'm gonna go with Stack. He went out the way he should have, I guess, but Stack was my favorite character. Like he's so funny. I love the way he lived life. He just had fun, and I like Stack's character.
That's the way I hope to die.
It could be worse, right?
Like his first death, yeah. Well, I guess he only had the one death, yeah. That's the way I'd rather die. Not necessarily Haley Steinfeld, but underneath. Anyway.
I feel you, man. I love the movie upon my first watch, and like I mentioned, I went into it with tempered expectations just because I didn't know much about the movie. This movie, they showed a lot of trailers for this one. Like Dustin can attest to it.
Yeah.
We go to the theater a lot. They showed this was almost Speak No Evil levels of showing the trailer at the damn movie theater, and it really didn't show much, and I appreciate that. The second trailer, if you watched it, spoiled a lot. Thank God I did not watch the second one. I only saw the first one. But I really loved the movie the first time I watched it. I loved so much about it. It was such a good time. The singing, the music scenes were just entrancing. The acting was incredible. I love the period pieces. I love the story it tells. And like I mentioned in our reaction, the only thing that was missing for me was the emotional pull. And like the scene where Stack gets vulnerable and tells Mary that he loves her and thinks about her every day, and like the music that plays along, it really chokes me up. And at the very end, the mid-credit scene when Sammy and Stack are talking about for a few moments, for a few hours, we could be free, and like they're holding their loved ones, they're dancing, they're free, they're able to live the life they want to live. It chokes me up a lot as well. I really love this movie. I do have qualms with it, like Delta Slim, the way he reacts to eating the garlic. It just wasn't necessary. Like you could have cut that pretty easily to me. Just some of the stuff I didn't really super care for, but I love the movie. I give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Let's go. All right, that gives us a composite score of 9.75. IMDb 7.7, which is honestly shocking that it's that low. Letterboxd 4.2, and then Rotten Tomatoes 96%. Hey, you 4% critics, tell me your beef. Like I want to hear why didn't you like this movie? So all you have to give it is a 3 out of 5 on Rotten Tomatoes to give it a favorable score. And
they gave it lower than that.
4% of people gave it less than a 3 out of 5. Idiots.
Do we know who these people are?
I'm going to find out, and I'm going to harass them on social media.
Yeah, you should.
You give them a harassment.
Like you can't get a 3 out of 5,
right?
Like you serious? Like that? It should be like 3.5, if anything.
Yeah.
God, that's ridiculous. All right. Anywho, final thoughts, guys, on Sinners. Sorry I yapped so much. It was a long movie. A lot happened. Hope we did it justice. There's a lot to unpack here. Just the storytelling, the things Coogler's trying to say. So hope we did it justice. All right, I'll shout out our blood donors, and Dustin, you can announce your pick for next week as we conclude Brian's free themed month. Legendary blood donor Sean Irwin, we got to do his pick in a couple weeks, and we will knock that out, brother. Camper level reoccurring Nina, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Michelle Mirza, Steve Schmidt, Matt from the UK, and Anthony Andrews. Camp counselor reoccurring Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis, Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, Madison Arzola, and Casey Smith. Really appreciate y'all helping us pay these bills. It means a lot to us. Dustin, announce your pick for next week as we conclude Brian's free themed month.
Yeah, this is a movie that I saw in theater before I started going to see every movie that released because I love Jordan Peele, and I've been wanting to pick this one for a couple of years now, just haven't had the opportunity. It hasn't been right, but I recently got it on Blu-ray, so let's do it. We're going to do 2022's Nope. This movie has just such an incredible cast. Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Stephen Yeun, Glenn from The Walking Dead, Keith David. It even has Osgood Perkins acting in the movie. He's not directing. He didn't write it. He's an actor. So I'm excited to hear what you guys think about Nope, because it's a very, interesting movie, if nothing else.
I've only seen it once. I didn't love it, but, new eyes, a couple years later, we'll see. Any final thoughts, guys, before we get out of here? I'm tired. Did a lot of yapping tonight. All right, we appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody,